People say time heals everything, but they never met someone like me. I don't forget, and I don't forgive. This is the story of how I took revenge on the man who destroyed my life. I had a life once, a good one. I wasn't rich, not powerful, but I had something far greater: trust. I had a friend I called my brother, even though blood didn't bind us. We grew up together. We shared secrets, food, laughter, dreams. We built each other up when the world tried to break us down. People would look at us and say, "Those two, they'll make it. They're unstoppable." And I believed it. We started with nothing. Nights spent planning in small apartments. Days spent chasing opportunities others didn't see. I can still remember the smell of stale coffee as we scribbled ideas on scraps of paper. The sound of his voice when he said, "One day, this will all pay off." I believed in him because he believed in me. But here's the thing about trust. It makes you blind. You don't notice the cracks forming until it's too late. At first, it was small things. He'd talk over me in meetings, take credit for words I said, dismiss my suggestions as if they were foolish until someone else praised them. I laughed it off, told myself it was nothing, told myself he was just ambitious, just hungry. But hunger can turn into greed. There was one deal, the deal that could have changed everything, a partnership that promised security, recognition, and a future. I remember staying up all night working on that proposal, polishing every word, every number. He was there, nodding, supporting, encouraging, or so I thought. The next morning, when I walked into the boardroom, ready to present, something was off. Papers were already on the table. My words, our work, laid out, but not under my name. His name, his signature. My chest tightened, my breath caught, as I watched him shake hands, as I watched smiles exchange around the room. The people clapped, congratulated him, and all I could do was stand there, frozen, the sound of my own pulse louder than the applause. He didn't even look guilty. No hesitation, no shame. He turned to me, smiled, and said in front of everyone, "I couldn't have done this without him." A pat on my back, a knife between my ribs, the kind of gesture that looks friendly to the world, but burns like fire. When you know the truth, I laughed, because what else could I do? To fight back in that moment would have been to expose myself as weak, desperate, bitter, and he knew it. He knew I was trapped in that silence. The days that followed were worse than the betrayal itself. People whispered behind my back. They said I had been careless, that I didn't fight hard enough, that maybe I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. He became a star, climbing higher and higher, while I faded into the background. He stood on stages, gave speeches, wrote articles about success and leadership, all built on a foundation of lies, my foundation. But here's where he made his mistake. He thought I was finished. He thought betrayal would bury me. He thought I'd disappear, fade into nothing while he enjoyed the spotlight. What he didn't know was that in the silence of my downfall, something darker was growing. I stopped speaking. I stopped explaining myself. To the world, I looked defeated. I smiled when he smiled. I raised a glass to his victories. I clapped with the crowd. But inside, I was writing a different story. Revenge isn't about rage. Rage burns fast, loud, and leaves you with nothing. Revenge is patience. Revenge is silence. Revenge is watching, listening, and waiting. And that's exactly what I did. I started small, collecting emails, documents, contracts, every little thread that tied his empire together. I spoke to people he had stepped on, those he had manipulated and discarded without a second thought. And there were many. Greed doesn't just betray one person, it betrays everyone in its path. The more I dug, the clearer it became. His entire empire was a house of cards. All I had to do was wait for the right moment to pull one piece and watch it collapse. Years passed. He grew richer, more arrogant. The world loved him. But the higher he climbed, the more fragile he became. The stage was set, and I was ready. It happened on a night he would never forget. A hall packed with cameras, lights, and people chanting his name. He was there, basking in their love, ready to announce his grandest achievement yet. The man who once stole everything from me was now standing on top of the world, but not for long. The screens behind him lit up, not with his triumphs, but with his sins. Documents, recordings, voices of those he betrayed, faces of those he destroyed, all of it laid bare for the world to see. Gasps filled the room. The applause turned to murmurs. The smiles turned to disgust. Reporters swarmed. Partners walked away. Investors pulled their support. I stood in the crowd, unseen, watching as the mask he wore cracked under the weight of truth. His eyes darted, searching, desperate. For the first time in years, he looked powerless. And I felt powerful. But here's the part they don't tell you about revenge. When the dust settles, when your enemy lies broken, it doesn't bring peace. It doesn't bring back the years you lost, the trust that was shattered, the nights you spent drowning in silence. No, revenge doesn't heal you. What it does is prove something else entirely. That silence is the sharpest weapon of all, because silence is patience. Silence is planning. Silence is the moment they never see coming until it's too late. I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I didn't raise my voice. I smiled, and I waited. And in the end, he destroyed himself with the very weapons he used against me. Now, I ask you this. If someone took everything from you, if someone betrayed you in the deepest way possible, would you have done the same? Because I did, and I would do it again.